All right, Maru, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Where we actually finally have a name now. All right, how are you doing today?
Good. Today's pretty nice. Today's Christmas Eve, right? Christmas
it's
Eve,
Christmas
24th,
Eve.
Sunday. Nice and chill.
So how you been? Tell me a bit more. Tell me a bit more about yourself.
Yeah. Overall, not too bad. Definitely a lot better. For the people that know, one shaved my head, trying to cover it up with the head. But yeah, it's pretty nice overall. Self-improvement. A lot of just doing that small thing, discipline, trying to build that up for sure. Besides that, yeah, pretty nice. Even.
Pretty good. So you know, like how we both go to the same school. We both have the same stress level kind of thing.
Yeah.
With school, but what are some different roles that you juggle every day?
Different roles. Yeah, so at school specifically, I'm part of a lot of things. I'm part of different clubs and whatnot, but aside from that, school specifically, like subject-wise, not too much. Just being able to show up to school every day, doing, getting shop class. What else? Just fulfilling the homework that's given. That's kind of it. Not much of a specific.
But like, I know like for me, doing this podcast and then doing also like schoolwork and everything like that, like it's actually pretty much like juggling multiple roles, as in like being a good son.
Also like outside.
Yeah, outside of school too, because
Gotcha.
like just also you got school and then you actually have like the life outside that you had to deal with. Like we have shop, right? Shop is like an extracurricular activity that we do, kind of thing. And then we also do like, I know for you, I actually don't know about about that now. But like, what do you do outside of school for now?
Yeah, so as of now, definitely trying to hit the gym. That's a pretty major part now. Aside from that, trying to learn to relax a lot more, learn to accept the things that I've done in the past. So I've been, this whole point up until senior year, I've been like just trying to grind and make sure to do as much things as I can. But now it's more of reflecting on the things that I've done and just relearning some of the steps that I've taken. That's one of the things that I've been doing. So just looking through my old photos, looking through all my old projects that I've done and try to perfect them. One of the examples of that is I was originally trying to make a startup for a boarding company.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen me roll around, but I take my electric skateboard school. And I'm a huge personal fan of electric skateboards. So I've been trying to make my own company, make my own startup with that. I originally started it, didn't really go too well. I couldn't find a manufacturer to actually get all the parts and whatnot. So now getting the new skills, being able to find manufacturers like
kind of thing.
Yeah, trying to get that in. Aside from that, not too much. Just trying to relax, trying to spend every day,
So does it seem like overwhelming, like having multiple roles to juggle? Like
Yeah, so from a past perspective, so as in like in the past, yeah, for sure. Being able to, when I had to juggle clubs, also doing side projects and whatnot, entering competitions with whatnot with you and whatnot.
Yeah.
That was overwhelming for sure.
That was
Yeah.
that was a good run.
Yeah, it was. I think we went really far, yeah. But as of now, I don't think so. My priority is to not overwhelm myself right now. So now.
So you went from actually overwhelming yourself, where in COVID we did the challenge in the thing.
Yeah.
Where we actually won, but
That was impressive.
that was actually surprising to be
Yeah.
honest, because I did not expect us to win.
Oh yeah, no, we both just whoops.
With that shitty half that we
Yeah. No, it's midway. We gave up. I remember when we were trying to make the functionality, nothing worked. Couldn't press a single image. Oh, why don't we just screenshot? Yeah, I think that was the best idea. Like just screenshot it and just paste the image so they don't know. I think that
was a great idea. 'Cause, like,
it worked.
I don't know whose idea was it, but like it was something that actually worked.
Throw it out there, yeah.
It was the same. Didn't we do pretty much a similar thing with the first one too?
I think we did. Yeah. I mean, well, the first one we didn't really have enough time to do any of the actual concept drawing, so I think that's what we did. That's what we went with. Great idea. Easy, less time.
I mean,
everything.
We got a new competition coming up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do. Oh, I forgot about that already. But we'll see how that goes.
I don't know. I mean,
everything's all over the place.
That's a funny story. I'm gonna tell you later.
Okay.
I mean, So like, when it comes to balancing life, right? You seem like a lot calmer now and like a lot more settled and actually like more like dynamic kind of person now.
Yeah.
But like, what does it mean? Like, what does life balance mean to you?
What is life? That's a good question. Life balance to me, I would say, is also not only prioritizing having fun, but also prioritizing getting far, getting ahead of other people. A lot of people don't realize that your youth isn't your time period to have as much fun, but to explore as much as you can. Personally, I'm really grateful for my mom to be allowing me to experience that, trying as many things as possible, dancing, singing, piano, violin, all that stuff. And then I was able to pick and choose from there. So not only my having the ability to now settle with what I'm really good at, now I know, what I can do and what I can't do. And like being able to balance that out, I think is a huge part.
So it's like that freedom to choose whatever you want to do, like pick and choose, experience a lot of things. But I think like something that a lot of youth experience is that they don't necessarily get the choice. Some
That's
don't.
true. Yeah.
Some are like, they're set on this one degree or set career, and they're like, I want to do this only. But then, for example, let's take our school for example, right? A lot of the kids, they come in, they're like, oh, shop as in like they do the aircraft mechanical work.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is the thing that I want to do because of all the money. But then after going down to senior year, they realize that there's a lot more opportunities out there.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not one thing that you need, like that's not the only career path out there.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the examples of like how people are just set in one place and like they don't like move on about it.
Everyone gets too comfortable now, especially now that like social media is such a big thing. Everyone doesn't have as much attention span as they used to.
Yeah.
So they just settle with whatever they're comfortable with, whatever they can get their hands on. I think people should like go out and experience a lot more things and just put yourself in uncomfortable situations a lot more.
I heard that like if you want to grow out of your space, if you want to become a better person, the main thing is actually getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's like the main thing. So how do you go about explaining to like get out of your comfort zone, like breaking out of that shell?
Yeah, so surprisingly, I used to be an introvert, so I didn't talk a lot, especially sophomore year when I was with you. Oh man, like I got comfortable. I was like,
sophomore year was kind of COVID year, so like.
I mean, yeah, no, obviously, but being able to, that's a bit different, I guess, for us. But being able to, I guess I got just really comfortable with the fact that everyone's at home.
Yeah.
We don't have to go outside. We don't have to talk to other people.
That's true.
That was, oh man, when they told us we got to go back to school, I was like, that's gonna be really weird. I gotta talk to people, but that was definitely an objective that I had to like break through. So I had to learn to actually get to talk to people and whatnot. At that point, I was much of a nerd. I didn't really like go out. I didn't have a social life at all. Yeah, so I think during my junior/sophomore year, when I was able to really get out, I went to different parks and whatnot, and I started talking to random people. Be like, hey, do you play volleyball? Or like, hey, do you do a certain thing? And just building your connection from there, and just going out and talking to people from there was, I think, one of my biggest steps, even to this day. Something that I learned from that was whenever you go to somewhere, let's say a business social event, something that I like to do often, going to a certain event where they host things, you go up to someone, you talk to them, and you get their name. Be like, hey, great, nice meeting you. Let me get your LinkedIn. A lot of people give you their LinkedIn now, or email. Just get their email, something quick, and then message them a follow-up email later. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be about something. Just write, hey, thanks for blah, blah, blah. I appreciate it. I appreciate your presentation. I appreciate whatnot. And then just send the email. Just don't think too much about it and just send it. We're all humans. We all get it. And they'll like it. They'll feel appreciated about it. Because a lot of people don't send follow-up emails, especially when you meet in person. They do that when you're on Zoom and whatnot, but they don't do that when you're in person. So being able to send an email after meeting someone is a huge leap. That puts you aside from a lot of people, and they'll be able to know, oh, he's unique, he's outstanding, he's brave enough to actually send people emails, and whatnot. That I think was a huge skill for me that allowed me to make such a huge connection. And they're a lot more open and willing to give you things that way.
Yeah, I think like I was watching this YouTube video of Immerse.
Yeah.
He was like one of the advice he was actually giving out for young kids if they want to be like if they want to put themselves out there. Like anyone you look at who's walked the shoe
Yeah.
or path, one thing that they explain is like the importance of connections and human communications.
Big part. Yep. Big part.
Because like even with our past podcast with Abraham, he was like the one thing that this generation of youth lack is communications. Because if you can't communicate, if you can't speak properly, you can't write properly.
Yeah.
And when you can write and speak, that changes the dynamic of a person. Like you can go in there and like work in a company or like you can't do everything like that.
No, yeah, that's a big part. I think COVID hit a lot of us too.
COVID, yeah, definitely COVID. But then I asked him like, what do you think is the main cause for it? He said that even though COVID was a factor, right? COVID is done now. He said that even the mobile devices that we use every day, like even though it's supposed to be social, it's making us more antisocial than social.
It's the opposite, yeah.
It's actually doing
it's
the
hilarious,
opposite.
Yeah.
And like it's consuming or the dopamine effect. It's basically doom scrolling. It doesn't even like do anything much.
Yeah, that's a really big part. But you can also realize that you can use that to your advantage, using social media as a way to communicate to others. I mean, this is a bit more personal thing, but when I started talking to a lot more people, I also started getting interest towards a lot more opposite genders. And when I started dating a lot more people, I started realizing you can message people on social media.
Yeah.
So you don't have to necessarily go out, find people. You can always just message people, be like, hey, don't be weird about it, but like, just message people, even if you don't know them, if you think they're pretty, just be like, hey, swipe up on the story, hey, I think you're pretty and whatnot. That itself, being able, like, even though it's not supposed to be like a business communication or like, an improvement communication, it still improves your social skills. You're talking to someone you don't know, you're talking and getting yourself out there. So that's definitely something people that can do now that'll improve their communication. Yeah.
So putting yourself out there really like makes a difference.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So like, you know how the social media and everything comes in together, distracts you a lot. The attention span is definitely not there.
Yeah.
And nowadays, like, for example, like youth, right? They had to complicate their lives with school. And then, for example, if you're in the senior year, you had to do all your applications, college applications, high school, AP classes. And if you're in a CTE school, you're like, I had to take shop. So like, how does the deadlines work? Like, how do you like deal with procrastination and like rushing to that deadline?
Ooh, big question. Yeah, procrastination. Don't get me wrong, I procrastinate hella too. I procrastinate left and right. But one of the things you can do is deleting it. That's probably the easiest one, deleting it itself.
So deleting social media and everything?
Yeah, like, if you can. In my case, I can't delete certain social medias because that's the only way I can communicate with certain people. So that's what sucks. Or that might just be an internal excuse, who knows. But another thing you can do is you can move the location of where you put the app itself. So I used to have, on Apple at least, on the bottom, I don't know what it's called, on the bottom you have 4 icons you can put, 4 app softwares you can put. And I used to have like call, contacts, messaging, Google, and then I had Instagram on the very right. So what I did was I replaced it with this app where you can like read and whatnot. I replaced it with that. And what I realized was whenever I got bored, I just instinctively clicked the bottom right. So now whenever I click bottom right, I open up to like a scrolling, a reading website. And so what I'll do is I'll just finish it and read it. And that replaces like the whole habit of opening Instagram, opening the social media. So if you ever have that habit, but you don't want to necessarily delete it, just switch up the place of where you put it. And then that changes a huge time.
So it's like an idea where you have so something that I read was like Atomic Habits.
Yeah, great story.
Where he describes that you had is like certain things that you could, if you need to change something, you need to change your environment. And changing your environment causes you to like develop this new habit of doing certain things that you just don't want. You feel like you don't want to do them, but you do them regardless because your environment just changed a lot.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Just I think a lot of people now they're too. One of the things they're too scared. If you ever want to learn something new, just throw yourself into it. It's a lot easier for you to learn something new by you throwing yourself into it instead of learning the steps to get into that place. So like if you want to get into business, bro, just start a business. Just throw yourself into a business and learn from there. And then just see how it goes.
So basically put yourself in there and then after that, so fake it until you make it.
Exactly, fake it until you make it. Don't like lie about it, but like, you know, fake your skills and whatnot, and then see where it goes.
So it's like if you can't, rather than saying you can't do it, just say that you haven't done it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like the idea of
just
like
not yet. Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. 10 out of 10 works.
I think like I was watching this episode of Chris Williams.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you know him.
No
Chris
idea.
Will. I think Chris William. Chris Will X is his Instagram. He does the Modern Wisdom podcast.
Oh. Yeah.
Where he was explaining how if you don't want to do something, right? If you don't find motivation to do something, when you start doing it, right? That's basically your motivation.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to do homework, but then you just open up the book. Now that's your motivation to do it.
Yeah.
So you just take that first step.
Yeah. A lot of people can start learning these new habits. One of the habits literally called 3, 2, 1. If you're lazy and you don't want to get out of bed, make a habit of saying 3, 2, 1 and then doing something. So then in your head, whenever you start saying 3, 2, 1, you have to do it. So like if you're lazy and on your bed, say 3, 2, 1, roll off the bed. Now every time you say 3, 2, 1, your body has to do it. And that creates this like cycle of you being able to do something once you accomplish an easy task, which is counting to 3.
It's like the same idea with like making your bed in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just
because
small
it's like
things
one task is done, and then you get another task done because of it, another task done.
Yeah.
So like that kind of rolls over to the idea of productivity, and like how do you think like productivity, like managing it and balance your life? How does that dynamic of your life work? How productive are you basically?
How productive I am? Recently, I mean, I've been productive. I guess compared to other people, I'm a lot more productive, but compared to my past self, definitely not as productive. I generally try to do, what is it called? Flexible things first, and then I'll do fixed tasks. So what does that mean? Writing essays and whatnot, those are, I would consider flexible tasks. That means you can change the duration of the actual task. And then fixed tasks are things that require a certain amount of time, like doing chores. You can't really speed that up to a certain limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the difference. I try to do my flexible tasks first, and then I'll do my fixed tasks. So I have to keep in mind what I have to do first and what I can do later. And when it comes to like studying and whatnot, there's a side of me where I take passion in that, so I enjoy studying and whatnot. But try to create this habit where you start a timer or you
like
set
a
a timer.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, great. You know the method. Yeah, set like a 25-minute timer. Say I have to do it and do it, and then you get and then eventually like after the first 25 minutes, you just eventually like continue. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like Ali Abdel, you know, the guy who's like pretty famous for his productivity tips and everything.
Yeah.
He said that if you want to do something and you don't want to get up and do it, just say that you're going to do it only for like a certain amount of time, like a short amount of time, like for 1 minute. That's it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because what happens is in that 1 minute, your brain conditions itself to actually do it, keep on doing it. So that 1 minute changes from you actually wanting to do it to not wanting to do it, or like wanting to do it and then not doing it. So it's like that 1 minute gap.
Yeah, your brain's a lot stupider than you think. So there's so many ways you can just trick it into doing things. So those tips definitely help.
And you also had to be like, his new book, Feel Good Productivity. Literally the title itself is something that he learned apparently, where in order to actually be productive, you had to feel good about it. You had to be passionate about doing it. If you don't feel passionate about doing it, you're not gonna feel good about it.
Gotcha. Mind you, I don't know any of these books. I don't read books.
I mean, he
at
just
all.
released it. It's not. I don't think it's even out. It's in pre-order for Amazon.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I don't read any. I haven't finished a single book. By the way, I've never read a full English book. It's not a good thing, but that says a lot. You can accomplish a lot without reading books. Is it a good thing? Yes, but you probably should read a book.
I mean,
but, you know,
books.
it's accomplishable.
What I learned from reading them is that it just gives you a different perspective.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily teach you the stuff that you need, but it teaches you what other people learned. Like, for example, like Atomic Habits, where he talks about him going through his recovery process and how he managed to become I forgot, he was like, I think ESPN's 25 best MLB in the university itself.
Something.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
And then he also went through a major skull fracture and everything. So so the idea is like his experience where he went from being able to do nothing to being able to be that one person that he always wanted to be, like having that valedictorian grades and everything.
Yeah.
So like books are basically like other people's experience, and necessarily you don't have to read everything in the book.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
You don't have to read everything in the book. If you take Atomic Habits, for example, or like there's not just Atomic Habits, but I think like a lot of books are doing this recently, more and more, is where at the end they just literally have a summary of the whole chapter.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they have a whole summary of the whole chapter, or just like this one line sentence of this what the book is.
Yeah.
So all you had to do is you had to read that, and then if you read like literally like one paragraph of the chapter when it starts, you would basically get the whole gist of the whole chapter.
I didn't know that.
You don't have to necessarily learn everything in the book. The book itself is like so necessary, right? If I were to write a book, I can't write a 10-page book and sell it for $11. Are you going to buy it? Like, that's a waste of money, right? So necessarily, if I had to sell a book, I had to make it worth your while, meaning I had to make it at least 10 chapters instead of 10 pages.
Yeah.
So those are some things that like make the difference. The books are not like, oh, I had to read the whole thing. Necessarily, like they do help improve your vocab, and then they do help improve your speech and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
But you don't necessarily have to read the whole thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, especially reading, that does reflect on your English classes. For the people that are at school, it definitely reflects it. I'm one of those students that don't read at all. So in middle school, up until not middle school, like elementary school, until I was in 5th grade, I was in like one of those lower levels, right? And in New York City, we have regions. We have those regions we have to take every year, unfortunately. And on the English, up until 5th grade, I had a 2, that's on a 4. That's out of 4 scale, so it's half, basically, less than 50%. That was
those
bad.
are state exams.
That was bad. And I had a 2 up until 5th grade, and 6th grade. I remember the first time I got a 3. I was so happy about myself. I was like, oh my god, I finally got a 3. And then from there, I got a 4, luckily. But yeah, that says a lot. Reading is such a big part. Do I recommend it for some people? No. Am I telling you to read? No. You should. But to some level, if you really don't like reading, I'd say do something else that will replace that experience.
Like reading a manga kind of thing.
Yeah, that works too. Anything that'll just replace the vocab learning and like the speed of your reading. Yeah, as long as you're being able to replace that, it doesn't matter what you're reading. It doesn't have to be a book.
You know, I never checked my state exam grades.
That makes you fun.
I never actually got. So I never got them. I don't know how to access them. So to this day,
Even better.
I don't know any state exam grade I got. Math or English.
Even better.
Except for the regions, which I hate the fact that I do get them in my transcript. I see those 60s, but yeah. Especially with physics.
They need to. New York City needs to get rid of those.
I mean, I think we're the only state that has.
Yeah, we are. I mean, okay, other states have replaceable tests too for the regions, but the thing is, colleges outside of New York City don't check that.
That's true.
Yeah, so there's not much of a point in having them. I don't know why they have them, but you know. Hey.
I mean, a lot of things DOE does is kind of.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of things they need to fix.
I mean, DOE does a lot of things that is pretty questionable.
No, yeah, for sure, definitely.
I mean, talking about school systems are like, they have, I think, New York City's, not just New York City, but the United States school system is like a lot lenient.
Oh yeah,
compared to like majority of the world.
No, they are so much.
But the funny part is in Egypt, when I used to go to school there, you get 6 months of school, you get 6 months off.
6 months off.
Pretty much 6 months, at least close to
crazy.
6 months, because it's like you have summer 2 months, I think 2.5 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Winter 1 month. And then,
like college,
since it's a Muslim country, they do give Ramadan the whole month off.
Really?
Yeah.
Whole month?
So
That's
for the
nice.
whole month of fasting, they actually give you the whole month off.
That's nice.
And one thing strange about Egypt is everyone is pretty much like a store owner kind of thing. Why? Because in the morning they go work in the factories, right? So like you have the morning shift, the usual shift like 8 to 5, and then if you want to go to the store, you might have like one grocery store open in the morning, but majority of any shopping, like if you want to buy any clothes or like stores, you're not going to find anything in the morning. It's dead. It's dead. Like you're not gonna find anything. It's basically like the streets when it's at night, it's gonna be there at that morning. Like it's gonna be like a desert kind of thing. Like you're not gonna find any person that much. When it hits like, we call it after Maghrib. After Maghrib is like sunset, right? That's when you actually start seeing a lot of people, and then they go to the market and everything. It's
so
like
they all have the same schedule.
It's like an opposite kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Where here you go in the morning, and not at night it lowers the people, but then over there it's like morning you don't go much, but at night you have a lot of things.
Yeah, that makes sense. Every country has their own system.
And also in Ramadan, what they do is a lot of the stores, they close up there in the morning.
Oh, really?
They don't open up much.
That's interesting.
It's only at night.
That's interesting.
So it's pretty interesting, like the Middle Eastern countries, when it comes to those specific months, the way they do things. I think the merchants being at night, like the stores being open at night, kind of has to do with the weather too, temperature.
Oh, is it hot?
I mean, it's a Sahara desert, so.
I mean, yeah, well, obviously. Yeah.
So you can't expect much better, I guess. But I don't know. I think like there's a lot of things that has to do with geography, like their culture based, where their ancestors definitely like had to do a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the education policy and whatnot, from my country, I'm from Japan, so I was born there and I went to school there. It was crazy, especially I used to go to school there during the summer, so I would go to school. I would go to Japan as like, you know, to travel. As a vacation, I would go early July-ish up until like end of August and whatnot, and I would go to school a bit there because you get like a trial school. It's weird, but you get like a trial school. So I would go in whenever I landed. I start going to school up until whenever they ended, because they end later. They have only like a month of summer, so I go to school, and what I realized was they're on a completely different level. Their organization skills is like crazy good, but the downside of that is because it's so good, everything's packed. So you have so much homework, you have so much work to do, and so much expectation from the teachers. That's what gives.
So you went from
life crazy.
School to school.
Yeah, I would go from school to school, literally. And I used to go to private school here. So on Saturdays, I would go to Japanese school. So it was on school. This was crazy. I mean, I went, to enjoy myself. It was an option that my mom gave me, but I was like, might as well try. I haven't like actually been in school for a while, so I was like, I'm gonna try it. When I don't know why I decided to go 3 years in a row, but kept going. And, yeah.
Okay, so tell me a bit more about the Japanese school and like your private school and then your actual normal public school that you go to.
Yeah, so we have the regular school. This is during middle school, so we had middle school, and then on Saturdays I would go to Japanese school. It's called Bisa Kennedy. Shout out to my friends. I had 4 people in that class, including me. So 3 other kids, and then it's just me.
I mean, that makes sense.
4, yeah, And no. What doesn't make sense is other classes they have like 16, 20 students.
So why?
So I don't know, just our grade, and the grade above us, they had like 4 students. So it was weird, but yeah. Had that, and then during the summer, I wanted to try, a different type of school. So decided to go. It was fun because they have a swimming class. They have actual like PE, so it's like actual sports. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I myself learned in like 4 different school systems. So I know, but like, regardless of where I went, PE was still the same thing, except for Egypt. Egypt, they actually had, it was a private school called Saint Joseph.
There's a lot of St. Joseph's too.
Saint Joseph, but I think this was a pretty good school. I liked it. We had a whole a lot of basketball hoops. It was like a pretty big school. It was like a campus kind of thing.
Which one would you say the best one out of like the places?
Sri Lanka, it's alright. It's not the best.
Better than this, or?
It's not better than this. It's kind of worse than this.
Yeah.
Egypt definitely, because it's where I got most of days off. Regardless of what happens, Egypt is kind of a special place that I would go back to because it's where I lived most of my life. Like 10 years of my life over there, and then like 1 year in Sri Lanka with the education and everything. But Egypt is where I mostly lived.
Gotcha.
In Egypt, like even when I go to different countries, regardless of where it is, I still follow the same culture from Middle East, and that follows me. So it's like something that I just don't. It's like a nostalgic kind of effect.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't let go of that. I really like. I would appreciate. Like I would actually go back to it.
Oh, to Egypt?
Yeah.
Do it.
I mean, I would go back. I would go back and live there. I don't mind. But yeah.
Like a bit? Yeah, same in my home country. I can't speak as much Japanese anymore, but it's nice. It's nice. I think I want to live in Japan in the future. Their food is so good. Oh my god.
I mean, Japan is like pretty fast growing.
Oh yeah.
Like the population's growing now too.
No, it's kind of slowing down. A lot of the new generation, they don't like having sex. So it's actually crazy. The average amount of times they have sex is 3 times a year. In Japan, 3 times a year. That says a lot.
I mean, that's like probably just because they're like more focused on their work.
Yeah, because of society. Like they make sex seem like a cruel thing, like a sin, whereas here not so much, which is a nice thing. I do enjoy that. It's a lot easier than living in Japan and trying to like get with people. That's a lot harder than doing it here. So
it's just it's less social there, but more productive.
Yeah,
so if you're like, it's more like a corporate kind of thing, and here's like more social. Have fun.
There's always a trade-off for everything. Yeah. So it's like that, but it's definitely worth it. Like I would say it's definitely worth it if you're trying to go for like a certain spec time, like a certain period of time. I would say if you're going to college, go to abroad, either China or Japan, or like if you went to Asian country, China, Japan, or Singapore. I think
Singapore is pretty good.
Singapore, ooh. I haven't gone to Singapore, so I wouldn't know. But from the things that I've heard, I would say it's worth the shot. Yeah,
I heard that Singapore Airlines is like. My teacher, he was saying that Singapore Airlines is like one of the best airlines.
So, yeah, that's what I heard too. I was like, trying to work there. I want to work for something good,
I mean, like people keep saying like Emirates Airlines.
Oh, yeah.
Emirates, and then also like you got Qatar.
Qatar, yeah, obviously Qatar is always going to be on top.
The funny part is they're getting rid of their business class. The first class, they're like, the CEO, I believe he's made a statement saying that it's kind of waste of a space or something, where you could put more economic classes, and then you can just fill it up.
That's fair.
I mean,
more money.
in a CEO perspective, it makes sense, but then in a customer perspective, like, you're losing a lot of things, you know.
I mean, I say they should just make a plane just for economy. Honestly, that sounds more reasonable to me.
I mean,
right? Like, if you had just economy, because there's a lot more people that want to go to economy, so just fill the whole thing with economy. You have more money for the CEO. Sounds like to me.
I guess it's up to Boeing, Airbus, and.
I mean, obviously, different seating and whatnot.
Because what happens is they're losing revenue too, because economy classes are like, I think the seating area, like the weight, because I heard that every airline gets its own way of customization. They have their own design team that actually sends the design to Boeing, Airbus, and there's a new big airline manufacturer they open up in China. I don't know the name of it. They're not as popular yet, but they are there. So they're like.
We'll see.
I don't know what happens.
They say that with a lot of manufacturers. Especially China, they be saying a lot of things about. They hype things up and then nothing happens. So
I mean, China is still the trade center of the whole kind of thing.
They are a trade, obviously, yeah. But not a lot of things they say aren't a lot of times trustworthy. So.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll see what happens.
So, like, what are some goals you have?
Oh, I have on my phone. Oh, my phone's crazy, but on my to-do, I have a thing called a to-do list, and then a goals list. So like things that I want to accomplish at a certain age, and on the bottom it says the age, and then things I want to do by that age. This year I actually accomplished the things that I wanted to do. I'm 17 right now, so I finished everything. Next to it says like, get a credit card, get your real estate license, get my international license, stuff like that. I have just things written down. Those are my goals. But overall wise, I want to get into college. That's just for the degree. I don't really care. I said I wanted to go to BU, Boston University, just to have fun, just to party. Because that's like, BU has a good balance of party and also like academic wise. So I just want to go there, get the degree, aerospace engineer. And I want to start my own company, name being Void. Basically, it's going to be a tech company where we make artificial planets and like artificial, space related stuff.
So you're basically kind of like going through my path too.
Oh really? Same thing?
So me, I'm kind of doing the same thing. To be honest, I'm just getting the degree, just to get the degree.
Yeah.
Because I believe like I had an argument with my friend whether college is actually worth it or not. Because I heard a lot of adults saying that college is not worth it. But then my friend had this good argument, which I really liked. You probably know him, but he said that college, yes, it maybe doesn't give you like all the, goody stuff.
Yeah.
But what it does, it gives you connections and networking.
No, yeah.
It gives you a perspective into the world. Where basically going back to the idea of like putting yourself out there and learning what's out there. That's basically what he said. He said that what happens is college gives you that perspective of something that you never realized is out there, and also like having connections, whether it be like he said that specifically with business degrees, right? Anyone you ask that has done business degrees, they would say that business degrees are not worth it.
Yeah.
What?
Definitely.
Even comp sci degrees, like it's the same thing. It's not worth it. But one thing that happens with comp sci degrees and business degrees is that you get the connection.
Yeah.
Professors,
That's true.
they're definitely there, because I had a NYU course which I did for like fun of it, like
business
those.
one?
It's not a business one. It was like a podcast course.
Oh, okay.
So it was like it was just not. It's a non-credit one. It was just like you just go and get the college experience kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where the professor, she works in the Berkeley Center.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So Berkeley's, and then she said that she's going to move into the NBA, but the women's side of it. So like, if you have a connection with someone who works in the NBA in the women's division, right? So when you have that connection, you could reach out to her, and then you could be like, "Is there a job opening?" Because it definitely like, she's going from experience with NYCFC, and a lot of other places. She's like one of the people that are up there like, with what she basically does is handle team logistics kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Between players and the team, like whatever you need. Like let's say for example you need a car to get from here to there, so then you reach out to the people who are needed, and then you just so it's like that. And that's definitely like interesting because the connections that she has like are not something that's like regular where you and me would have, because if you're dealing with people like let's say for example like Messi or Ronaldo's, like kind of like people who are like there, then the people who they want to go with, like the car they want to take and everything, is like definitely not in the normal class. Yeah. So the people who you talk to are like in the higher class and with connections that are even greater. So if you could get that person and you talk to them, you also like have that connection.
Yeah, no, for sure. But go back to the college thing. Is short answer, college worth it? No, definitely not. If I go by the rule, if a high schooler can do it, it's not worth a college degree. So same thing with business, especially because I started doing business when I was 12. So, if a 12-year-old can do it, you don't need a degree for it. And if like things like CS, you can learn online, so that doesn't really apply to the rule. But if you want the connection, like you said, definitely go. It's worth the connection. That's why MIT, Harvard, those things are on top, because even though they're giving the same course, they're giving the connection network that other colleges don't offer, the resources that other colleges don't offer. That's what makes them a top school. So by getting those connections and stuff, that'll set you for life. But is it really worth the stress and the amount of things you have to go? Definitely not. Definitely not, bro. You can just even now, you can just pull up to a college and just go into class. Do I advise it? No. But can you? Yes. You can just go in, ask the professor, be like, hey, like, do you know someone? Like, I'm doing a little project and whatnot. They'll gladly give you information. Like, you can just pull up to like an NYU campus and start asking questions. They'll give you everything. That's enough connection there. So you don't have to actually pay to go in to get the connections. So I think that's a big.
One more funny thing was my friend. He's in college. Mm-hmm. He said that he didn't get accepted into this one college. He got accepted into it. Yeah. But he didn't get this scholarship that he wanted. Gotcha. He was like, I was short of to 20K or something. And then he said that he negotiated with the admissions office, and then they were actually able to bring down the price. That just shows how college is really like, if you're able to negotiate a price with what you are doing, that's not really like,
This is a lot. There's a lot of wiggle room for colleges. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, obviously, colleges also want to make money off of you.
It's just a business, basically.
Yeah, it's a scam.
Even public schools is just a business.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, for someone that's currently in high school, like in the range of 16, 17, 18, if you want to go to, take a path in which you don't want to take, if you don't want to go to college, take MIT courseware. That's something that I took in the past. That's a good website to use, MIT courseware, or any other courseware that's online. They tend to be free. There's one from Google, courseware called Marketing. That's something that I took. They give you a certification by Google.
Yeah,
that itself is good enough as a resume if you want to get a job. So things like that you can definitely do without going to college.
Yeah, there's this dedicated site called Class Central.
Oh yeah, I've heard
Class Central. Yeah. They basically have a database filled with all the courses that are free.
Mm. Yeah.
Whether it be, and the good thing is that you actually get certifications from them.
Exactly.
Whether it be, there are some certification courses that do not have certifications, but mainly there is a lot. Especially one of the best ones is like the CS 101 or something.
CS1, yeah.
The CS50, the CS51. Yeah. Like that's a Harvard course that you take for free and you get
It's
So
like,
that's definitely a lot.
that's
but
like
like-
whole college fit into courseware that people don't know that they can take. So
Yeah, I think basically if you are passionate enough and you actually explore, put yourself out there, you will be able to find a lot of things.
yeah. Summary: you just need resource and connection. As long as you can get that outside of college,
Yeah.
you're fine. You're basically getting the same thing as what college students get, but for free. Like
That is
maybe. I know courseware that might cost like a few thousand, like 5,000-ish. That's better than paying 80K a year. So just take those and you're set. Yeah.
I mean, it's like our school, like aviation high school, where you get your free, like, not free, but like a 1K license.
Yeah.
1K license.
Yeah, they call it free in terms of course. Yeah.
Yo, like I'm gonna be honest with you, the freshmen, right? When they come in, they hear that you get out of high school, you make 90 grand in a year.
Yeah.
They get sold so easily.
Oh yeah, I
right?
was also like that too. I was like, oh, free money.
They get sold so easily, and then the senior year hits, and then they're like, "Where's the qualification? Where's the qualifying money? Where's the practical money? Where's the oral money?" And then you're like, "Oh no, I had to pay for this." I had a conversation with my teacher, and I'm like, "So you guys don't tell us this on the freshman year, but you guys tell us this like senior year when that time comes."
I mean, that's their goal.
I
You
mean-
gotta make money somehow, you know. It's like that. I mean,
Still though, like
there's nothing free in this world. Everything costs money. Whoa. Everything costs money. Even if it's free, there's always a cost in some sense.
That is true, that is
That's
definitely
right, yeah. So, is it good? Yeah. Well, $1,000 definitely worth it because you're making 80K minimum. 80K in exchange for 1,000, definitely.
And apparently, if you work in the airlines for 8 years, and then you go back to teaching, right, in
Yeah.
public school, specifically aviation high school, you are treated as if you have been working the school for 8 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That I didn't know that. That sounds nice. That sounds nice. I'm not gonna
So, 8 years or 10 years in the airlines, and then you transfer over to aviation high school, or I don't know if it's outside of high school too, but specifically about aviation high school, you go in and you start working there, and then you're like, I worked 10 years in the airlines, but now I have 10 years of experience
Yeah, teaching.
in teaching.
That's
So
nice.
my salary, if it's supposed to be 8K per year, it's not 8K, it's whatever what I get after 10 years, the compound effect kind of thing.
That's nice. Yeah, this applies to people that want to get into aviation. If you want to get into aviation and you're still like applying to high schools, go to aviation high school. It's so worth it. Like a lot of people go in thinking, oh, they'll become pilots. Yeah,
Pilots.
they'll become pilots. Wrong, but in exchange you do get a lot of connections to be able to get your license. I know a friend, he got his certification at the age of 16, I think, or 17, whatnot. And he was able to do that because he had the connection once he came to aviation high school. So
And they even got like flight simulators now.
they do, yeah. I started set
They
it up.
have
on the
a
first
whole
one.
room filled with flight simulators.
Damn, freshmen are so lucky. Holy.
They
They're
got
getting
flight
everything.
simulators. And the thing is, the best part is it's actually FAA certified. To get
Really?
that
I didn't
that
know.
simulator specifically is approved by the FAA to get ground hours.
Oh, I did not know that. Oh, I'm gonna have to ask Mr. Who is it? Who's the one that's running that?
Mr.
I'm assuming Mr. Sosa is one of
It's
them.
Mr. Goodamacho, I think.
Oh, really? Mr. Kalamacho?
But the thing is, I don't think they're letting anyone do it right now.
I mean, well, obviously they haven't set it up yet.
I think that's mainly like teachers. They go in and they're like, oh, they're exploring stuff.
Oh man, using all that money for what? I'm sure that costs a good amount, like half a
The
million.
funny part is, right? Our school is so dead broke. They don't want to sponsor any of our clubs, any of the clubs, any extracurricular activities. There's no trips. But surprisingly, they could afford this multi-million-dollar setup of simulators. That's FAA certified.
I mean, it's different though, because so the way our school works is they have the DOE section and they have the shop section. So they get a lot of funding in terms of they get a lot of funding for shop section. They
Shop
can't use
deal.
that. Yeah, they
that
can't use
fund
that
is
for
crazy.
DOE. So they can't fund the clubs. They literally mean they can't fund the clubs because they don't get the money from the shop side.
That's true.
So that's what sucks. Yeah, if you're in clubs for aviation, because I was
You had to do a lot of fundraising.
Oh yeah, no, you have to do a lot of fundraising. I was in our club. They don't get any funding, so we have to run contests and whatnot. And then what's annoying is you have to put in the school check. It's so annoying. It's so super annoying.
And you know the senior trip cost?
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, okay.
I asked the super seniors. They were like,
Yeah.
well, they said that their whole trip cost $350.
That's not too bad.
Their whole trip, the whole trip.
That's not too bad.
For us, the room itself is $450.
Oh really?
Yeah. Just
I
for the
didn't
room.
check the rest.
Just for the room. Just for the room with 5 other people is $450. And then.
I mean, because a lot of people complained last year. I heard a lot of complaints from our.
They were
last
like,
year.
but the super seniors were like, they were said that it's the same thing. It's the same price.
Yeah.
I am not sure, but I think it's possibly it is.
I'm hoping it's gonna be worth it. It better be worth the price that we're paying for, but we'll see.
$450 per room.
I mean, it's senior year, last of high school. Some people aren't even going to college, so I guess it's like worth that memory. You're paying
That's
for the
true.
memory. Yeah, not
That
the
is
memory.
definitely true.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the whole thing goes.
I mean, what type of mindset do you really carry though?
What type of mindset do I carry? Make every day worth your life. That's probably the biggest mindset that I go by. Be the self that you can be proud of is another mindset. I used to do a lot of things, but at one point you're gonna hit a wall and become numb about it. You have to realize and go back into the past and accept what you've done. So realizing the things that you've done, oh, I accomplished this project, this project, this project. You gotta realize and give yourself like a tap on the back, like, good job me, I accomplished all this. So I think that's my biggest mindset right now, being able to accept who I am and the things that I've done and stop pushing myself for no reason. You know, and just live life. Like, life is short, man. I was 13 a few days ago, man. And then now 17. Ooh, yeah.
I think it's the same people. Podcast Modern Wisdom with Alex Horomozy. I don't know if you know him.
No, never heard.
He's a good person for learning about marketing, business, just in general. I think he's like pretty influential about it. But Chris, right? He was talking to Alex. He was like, "You accomplished everything that you said that will make you happy."
Yeah. So now.
Or you happy.
Yeah. That's so deep.
I think the one thing is that people don't realize that you set goals and you're like, next month if I get this promotion or this milestone, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But once that milestone hits, you're like, oh, that milestone seems good.
Yeah.
And then you're like, on the next milestone. I think the idea is that the journey, right? The process of getting it is the reward.
Yeah.
And not the destination.
Like that applies to a lot of people that want to get into business. Make sure you enjoy the journey and not the destination. And one thing a lot of people say is, well, not a lot of people, but make sure you're enjoying what you're doing. Like, stop getting into things just for the money. That applies to a lot of aviation high school kids.
That is a definite problem.
Yeah. Stop thinking about the money. Make sure you enjoy the process. There's this phrasing goes like, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you be able to do? So like, if you knew you had as much money as possible, like if you knew you had the opportunities, what would you be able to do? Like, and when you put it in that sense, I think a lot of people would do a lot more things. A lot of people are just scared to start. They're scared to fail. But that's part of the journey. If you continue failing, you'll eventually learn how to not fail. So then, once you learn how to not fail, you're overpowered. You're set.
That is true.
You can do everything.
I think like my teacher, right, on the first day in avionics, he's like, we're sitting right there in class. He asked, what do you guys want to do? Who in this room wants to be EMT? Maybe like 5 people raise their hands.
Yeah, that's the funniest part, yeah.
Maybe like 5 people raise their hands. And then he asked why. Like, all 5 of them, or like most of them, majority, they said that they want to do it for the money.
Yeah.
And then my teacher, he's like, you can't do it for the money because you will not be able to do it. You will not be able to do it. You will be burned out. He gave us an example of what happened when when a worker actually did it for money. She got into a lot of trouble because of it, because she hated it. The only reason that she actually went into the aviation field is because she wanted that money. I think if you take money out of the equation and you just put passion in it, it's definitely like a lot worth it, because what happens is when you have the passion for it, you will have a drive to learn about it. You will have the automatic drive to learn about it and always wake up towards that one thing that you want to do.
Yeah, no, that's so true. That's so true. Just getting yourself to drive through things without actually thinking about money is a big skill people need. They need that. Sorry, my stomach's really calling for like.
I think like the best advice I have gotten since starting this project is upcoming. It's in the testing phase right now, and it will be out soon. I hope
Yeah,
so.
you hope so? Are you enjoying the journey?
I definitely think it is.
You think?
Right there, because it's something I enjoy. And the one thing that the person when we started, right, he said that we're not doing this for money.
Yeah, obviously.
Like that really did. No, I didn't understand it. Right, it took me a whole year to understand why that really didn't matter. Right, it's like money does not matter. We're doing this for just to do it. Could be a complete failure, or it could be a complete success. But why we are doing this is because we like it. We don't. It's not. Don't ever do anything for money. He said that if you do something really because you enjoy it, or if you think that's right to do, right? Let's say for example you're starting a non-profit. The money aspect of it, it will just come. It will just come naturally. Money is it's like a commodity. It's not something that you had to go look up for it, and like it just comes.
Yeah, it'll
Another
always
like
follow you afterwards when you have success. But another thing, just make sure you're not like follow like obviously don't take the advice too seriously. Just because you know have money in the equation doesn't mean you shouldn't follow it. Like just because if you want to become a doctor, let's say for the money, that's a bit serious. But like something a bit more calm, like an AMT, like at our school, it's not too much work. So I understand why people get into for the money.
yeah.
Just throw yourself into it. If you end up liking it, you end up liking it. But don't force yourself through it. Like there's no reason for you to stress through the whole thing and like not enjoy it if you're just in for the money.
I think like what happens, one thing about in Rich Dad and Poor Dad, in Robert
Rich Dad Poor Dad? Yeah.
one of the chapters is that he actually explained. I think the title is "Rich People Don't Work for Money."
Yeah, they don't.
It's just not the fact that rich people don't work for money. It's like even if the best doctors, right? Best doctors, anyone who you ask, they do it because they like it.
Yeah.
They don't. They don't do it because of money. They don't do it because someone forced them to be there. They do it because they like it.
Yeah, no,
And that's definitely like something like
that's certain.
drives a lot of people.
You don't hear rich people say, "Oh, my paycheck." Like, I mean, okay, you might, but like, you don't hear people say, "Oh," like rich people say, "Oh, my paycheck." Oh, finally the money. Like,
Yeah.
you only hear people poor, quote unquote poor people say that because rich people don't have that mindset where they continue looking for the money. They continue looking for enjoyment, success, and their goals. So, and then just money just follows them.
Money just follows, yeah.
Yeah. So
Because what happens is the actual value that you actually trade is time.
yeah,
Time is your actual currency.
Yeah, that's your actual currency. That right there is what takes you.
Because if you don't put in time, you're not gonna get anything.
Yeah. No, that's
Time
so
is the only
true.
thing that you trade for anything.
That is so true. That's why rich people trade money for the time because time is more important than money, and that's something you realize once you get a lot more money. But another thing is, a lot of rich people say start young because you don't have to worry about that money when you're young. all you have to worry about is what you do, and the only price you're paying when you're young is time,
That's
not time and money. Whereas when you're compared to when you're older, you have to pay both time and money. That's why you want to start young. Start young so or you only have to pay time.
So like, what are some advices you would give?
Some advices towards who?
Towards someone, towards yourself, like 3 years ago.
That's deep. Towards myself. Towards myself. Take it easy. Take it easy, man. Like 3 years ago, me, I was taking it way too hard. Like I was juggling 3 clubs, doing like insane amount of things, doing projects left and right, to the point where I was only getting 4 hours of sleep.
All I can say is when I actually saw you, right, at that time, you were doing volleyball, track, you're doing something else too. I was actually pretty surprised the way that you were able to handle them. I'm like, I think 3 years ago, yeah, it was the same thing for me. For me, it was just like school, shop, and then I had to deal with robotics. And then I was also doing, I was starting off with New York City Football Club.
Oh, right, for that, yeah.
For that time period. I think that's the time period we're talking. That's the exact time period where you were like juggling like multiple clubs.
Yeah, it's not even the clubs that took a lot of time. What took a lot of time was I poured my passion into apparel business. I was trying to just throw myself out there. So I was trying to make at that point, print on demand was like kind of the hype. So I went with print on demand and also just a part of drop shipping. I wouldn't really call that drop shipping, but just trying to like resell products as the third party was something that I was trying to really grind at that point. And I think that took up a lot of my time. So that, and the thing is, the effort wasn't worth as much as much as the result that I got back. So I think I'd say just calm down a bit to my past self. I mean, yes, I didn't make a lot of money from that and whatnot, but was it worth scratching my youth? Not really, because that's something like you can always do in the future. What you want to do when you're young is just get the basics and the fundamentals down.
That is true.
Just know what you have to do. So once you get older, you know what to do, and then you can just go straight into it. And you don't have to learn the mini process.
I think like when you're starting off, you just need experience. Because like editing, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like editing. You start off with basic stuff, simple edits. Because I remember myself actually like I do editings too. I don't. It's not like, but what happens is like when I started editing at the beginning, it was like pretty hard. I had to learn the software, and I didn't know about CapCut and everything. So it was like, it was I forgot the software name. It was like Microsoft something. And also like I was using there's this video editor tool in Microsoft itself. There's a couple, yeah. So I used those to do it. So it was a learning curve. I had to learn the thing, and then after that I had to edit it where like you had to replay every audio and everything. But after like a bit doing my podcast course with NYU, I just did it under like maybe like one day. It was a 3-week course, 3 days. You had to go in. You had like 2 hours of 2 hours. It was a pretty long time. I don't know exactly, but it was like I didn't take that long to edit it.
Gotcha.
It was just the video taking process.
No, that's super understandable. Like for the people that are concerned financially, like the reason why they don't get into things is finance wise, because you don't have enough money. Scratch that idea first of all. You're young. You always have money, But if you're worried about money and that's your main concern as to why you don't start new things, find ways to start it without having to require money. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of adults that know this, that they understand this. So
Yeah.
some people are willing to give you money, or like some people are willing to support you.
Basically, investing
Yeah.
funds.
Yeah, I think I go by this quote where youth is the only time where people accept no experience.
That is true.
Yeah, once you're older and they hear no experience, they look at you. They're like, "You sure about that?" Like,
I think, especially at this time and age, a lot of softwares, a lot of products and things, they have it in a way where you scale up.
Yeah.
Scale up.
Always scale.
So it's like, for example, Firebase from Google. It's like you have this set amount of quota, right? For the free.
Yeah.
Every month you get like, I believe, 1,000 writes or something in the DB, the document database. And then after that, if you exceed that, then you have to start paying.
Yeah.
Which is, well, I think like when I developed my app, I have never exceeded that amount.
Yeah.
I have never exceeded the amount for developing it. Did I have to pay for it? No, I still don't pay for it. And yeah, like it's not. And if you want to learn something, right? Like if you want to learn coding or anything, just go on YouTube, just search it up. It's not even that hard.
Yeah, YouTube
Trust
is
me.
your best friend, man.
I was surprised when I learned that I know more coding and computer programming than my friends, who actually got a computer CS degree.
Yeah. Like you start realizing, like, hey, aren't you in CS? And they go like, yeah, I'm in CS, but they don't know. Like, and then you go, oh my god, YouTube helps so much. Like,
I mean, if you really want to get into coding, there are some people that I would recommend. Traversy Media, and then you have Devet, and there's like other people. There's something called Fireship.io. Fireship.io. Those people, they don't even charge you. They just put their videos out there. You just have to reach. Even they also have like this. Sometimes they have the live Q&A that you could just go up to them there. You like.
that's nice. Live Q&A is really nice.
Sometimes, and then they also have their courses, obviously, which is like the paid ones. But 90, like you don't need to pay them. Like, you could learn all the basics from being like learning, like not knowing anything, to knowing like at least to a level of where you could build your own app with no other help. Yeah, that's definitely a lot. And then like there's like Free Code Camp. Free Code Camp. They have AI, machine learning, HTML, CSS, any language or any type of any language or anything that you want to talk about, they have it. And they have certifications too. You just have to prove that you know how to do it.
Okay, that I didn't know, but that's nice. They have certifications for that?
And apparently like Spotify, Google, they actually take those certificates.
Yeah. So that's really nice. You know, you don't always have to like, I mean, if you don't want to use YouTube, just message people on Instagram. That's what I've been doing. Like when I first got into business, I didn't really think YouTube was an option, so I just started spamming people. Be like, hey, like I don't even know you, but is there advice towards young people like that are starting, dropshipping or like starting whatever you're trying to do? Just message them, be like, hey, blah blah blah, and then they'll gladly help you. They'll gladly like try to tell you things.
My friend Hassan Dawood, he also did the same thing.
Oh yeah.
In our podcast, he was saying that he DM'd a lot of people.
That was the first one.
That was the first one.
That was the first one, right? Yeah.
That was the first one that we did. The way that he gained access to people like Tristan, he said that he just DM'd them, and then after that he just joined their internship, which is a free internship that he did to get experience. And then after getting that experience, he has his own marketing business now.
There you go. See, it's that simple. You just gotta start. People are being too pussies, man.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, just throw yourself out there, man. It's not that scary. Like,
I think
society is easy.
I think it's not the fact that they're scared. It's just when you go to school and when you go to like a lot of the institutions and just home itself, they condition your brain to start thinking that failure is like bad.
Yeah, no, that's so true. That's definitely so true.
Like you get a 65 on your grade, like that's 70 or like 80, and then they're like, oh no, you failed.
Yeah, no, that's so true. There's this quote like that says, B students work for A students, A students work for C students. Reason being, like, C students eventually generally, they know that you don't have to try it at school. School is a way to test things out, and it's a resource where you can test things out, but it's not something you have to have. Like, you're not done. Your life isn't over just because you failed the test. or just because. Oh, that's another advice actually that I give to my past self. Just because you fail a test doesn't mean your life is over, man. Like, come on, man, live, man.
I think I've been like when I went on myself where like after COVID year I had Trig.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think you know the teacher, Mr. Pasolanco. His teachings is pretty good, but I just never understood Trig. I just never understood it.
Gotcha.
I just never understood it. And it was like a hard concept for me, and I asked for help. He helped me as much as he can, but there's like to a point he could help before I start how to like get in,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, it was to the point where I couldn't get it. But what happened is like even though I failed a lot, not failed by, it was in the 70s, 80s, you know. Even though I went to that level, I graduated from that class. I didn't have to take it. I didn't make it up. I didn't have to make it up. I went from there and then did my regions, and then I passed the regions too. I didn't do bad. I think I did it in the 70s.
So there you
Which is really
as
not
long as
that
you
bad.
pass, you pass. Colleges don't even look at regions.
To be honest with you, like also with shop, I think like Mr. Sanchez, he definitely put that in my head. He's like, when you go take your FAA exams, people don't, the teachers who do your DME, they don't care about what your grade was in your qualifications.
Yeah, they don't care at all.
They only care that if you fail or pass. Like the jobs, they don't ask you if you failed, like if you got a 70 on your qual.
Yeah.
They only care if you have a license.
Then like once you get into life,
They don't
bro,
care,
you
yeah.
start, especially once you start getting college, you start realizing, oh, it's just fail or pass, not what grade did you get. It's
Yeah,
at
that's-
the end, it's how much experience do you have, how much do you know, how well can you do certain things. So as long as you have that down.
Surprisingly, after me graduating middle school, right? You know, like the saying that after you graduate that from that school, the school changes a lot and gets better.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, right? But in a way that now they don't give you. My sister does not get number grades.
They don't.
They don't. They get ME. It's a different scale.
Huh.
I was surprised by what they were doing. Like I asked my sister what is. She was like, I got an ME. I'm like, what is an ME? You know, like I don't know this. She's like, ME is pass. I got 100. I'm like,
Yeah.
and then when you actually take a look at the scale, apparently ME is anywhere from like 90 to 100.
There you go. See.
I don't know if how specific the grading scales are, but it's not number grades. You don't see the grade. You just see if you pass or fail.
That's really nice. But the thing with that is it becomes now how do you know some certain students are better than others in terms of like just paperwork? I think
You
then
don't
what
need
they
to.
start doing like for certain schools like gifted schools
Yeah.
they start looking at that and they start going oh now how do we differentiate certain students and then they start putting tests and whatnot so that's kind of annoying. I think they should start
everything.
yeah they should start having courses where like it's physical like work and whatnot it's like a practical like they should have like or an oral well verbal questions for those people that don't know but they should have it where they have to like talk one-on-one. I think that's a way better test than having to do regions.
That's basically where the interview comes in
Yeah,
with
exactly.
colleges and everything.
Well, they need to start changing that thing. They need to start improving it.
There's this person named Jayma. I forgot her name. This is my first 100 million podcast. They were saying that
Yeah,
the first my first million podcast.
I've heard that podcast. I think
Jesma or something. That was the person that was a guest at that day. She said that entrepreneurs and people like with different mindset, they definitely need a different school.
that is so true. That's so true. I think everyone needs a different school. Like they need a school specific for the thing that they want to do.
I think I don't know which country it is. I believe it's Switzerland, but don't quote me on this. I actually don't know. But what they do is they have kids go through their normal education, elementary school, and then I believe they go through certain courses at their middle school, which is like oh, do this, that, this, right? They explore, basically explore. And then after that, the government, they give them the money to go to whichever institute they want to go to do their higher education. I believe it's Finland, but I don't know yet.
Sounds like a typical Finland thing to do. That's a really smart. The U.S. needs to start doing that, but I don't think they have enough money to do that. But honestly, if they can afford aviation, like if AV can do it, I think other schools can start doing that too. Like more,
CTE schools?
Yeah, like just in general, like public schools in general, they need to start specifying certain like fields. So,
I think more and more schools are doing it in a way.
oh yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
Like you got Thomas Edison, which is like they have like 5-6 different programs in there.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, they have 5-6 different programs. You got Aviation High School, and then you got Queen's Tech,
Yeah,
which has like multiple CTE programs.
yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of schools upcoming. I don't think they're as popular as like regular high school.
Yeah, no, that's the sad part. Well, the thing is, like, what the issue with having CTE schools is, for those that don't know what CTE school is, it's kind of like trading school where you learn a specific field. With the issue with that is it becomes now how do you know a certain school is better, like a certain school has better students than other students? Because even if you like, let's say you go to CT school and
Yeah.
you get a lower grade for certain academics, but you get a higher grade for like that certain subject,
shop.
certain like shop in our case, yeah. How do you know they're better than other students? That's the issue. Now that's why a lot of students from like STI, Bronx Science, Townsend Harris, they get accepted to Ivy Leagues, whereas we don't, because they're specified in academics and they only specify in academics.
But-
They push you to go to Ivy Leagues. That's the difference.
I think like one thing that has the college counselor, right, she was talking about, she said that the Ivy Leagues, they let them know about it, but that doesn't do much.
Such bullshit.
It doesn't do much. I think that's definitely a downside of it. But I think like colleges should look at it because like obviously that CTE school kind of thing. I think that every CTE school kid should be allowed to submit a college resume for college.
They should have it like that. They should have a resume and they should have an interview. I think that would be so much better because then it just
The reason why I'd say that they should have a resume is because CTE schools is basically a trade technical school that you get, right? And then it's like going into a business. You have that resume and you submit it, and you're like, oh, I have these qualifications. Because if I go up to a college professor or a college admission officer right now, and I tell them that I am doing a thing right now, like aviation aircraft mechanic, they get so amazed. They're like, oh wow, you know.
yeah, they get surprised. They're like,
They get
"Wow, you do
surprised.
all that?"
But then when you put it down on an application, they don't realize it though.
They don't see the effort that you put in. So it's like it becomes, well, how do I compare it to a student that's in Townsend Harris or like STI? It becomes that issue. So I think they need to fix that system for sure.
That is definitely true. The more I think about it, the more unfair it is. But then technically we have our own unfair advantage.
Yeah, no, obviously.
We have our own unfair advantage where we could,
free money, man.
where we get out of high school, we get a job, we could work anywhere we want, kind of thing, with connections. And the thing is, we don't even need to go for an interview. They come to us.
Yeah, well, aviation high school is like a factory. We're slaved. They make students for those companies. So
Yeah, like the more you think about it, the more we. I think like it goes back to the aviation propaganda, the AMP propaganda, where like you're in the freshman year, you enter, you're like, oh this, and then now in senior year you realize, oh this, and then you're like, oh my god, what did I get myself?
yeah, like the amount of work you have to go through, like oh man.
Sophomore year, it conditions yourself.
The 8 class, the 8 sections. Holy man, that was different.
You go tell that to another people, like other schools, like Thomas Edison, right? They don't understand that.
Yeah, they're like, oh, what is that? Like, what are you doing? What are you getting out of it? Like, now that you ask, no idea. Like money, I guess. But it's definitely worth it. Like once you, because with trade schools, CT schools, like for our case, shop, you learn more than just school and shop. You learn outside of things because shop teachers teach you as if you're in life. They haven't been trained as a
They're
teacher.
basically like college professors.
Exactly. They train you like actual like man to man. So they tell you like real world application, real world stuff. So that's really nice about it.
And they don't really give
They do not give us a they, what's nice is they start cursing. They start like acting as if they're one of your homies. So it's really nice. It's easy to communicate with them.
I think it's yeah, I think like a lot of people they just generally get gel with a lot of the shop teachers. They're like, oh, they're my bud, you know.
They're a lot more chill about it. You can tell from the students, like they like shop a lot more than subjects, academic essays.
And also you have a lot of like opportunities, like mentorship opportunities in aviation high school. Like right now I'm in with Delta Airlines. They have a mentorship program that I'm part of. And the thing is they offer a lot of good programs and a lot of helps. Like whether it be like getting a job or like getting someone who's experienced in that field. Yeah, that's definitely not it.
That's nice. Yeah, we gotta get a step on that.
All right, well, thank you for joining us today.
Yep. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No
Yep.
problem. Hi guys, thank you for joining us at Hard to Mic, produced by Mars Studios. Definitely make sure to follow us on Instagram, subscribe, and please leave a like.